Okay, let me just refresh. It'll probably take a moment to come up.
I think it's live right now.
Let me know if you get a notification as well.
Yep.
For everyone, as this has gone, there we go, beautiful. Okay, so for everybody joining today, welcome. I am here with the lovely Larissa, and today we are going to be going over quite a few different things. The reason why we're doing this live is because a lot of times in life, people can go through experiences and people can look at life in specific ways. And when it comes to wanting to do things and wanting to get out in the world and wanting to live life on your terms, fear of the unknown, fear of doing something new, fear of saying or going or doing something that might not be seen correct in the eyes of other people can stop us from going and doing what it is we want to do. So the purpose for this live today is I resonated a lot with Larissa. She's a lovely person. I want to expose her to all of you guys. So for everybody, I want you to be very supportive on the lives, and we're going to be hearing a lot about Larissa. So Larissa, if you'd like to introduce yourself, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, James, thank you for having me on your page. I really appreciate that. To introduce myself briefly, I'm originally Russian. I live in Canada, Montreal. I currently work in, but I'm generally passionate about things like nutrition, fitness, and I'm currently working on hopefully developing something on the side while I'm still in the corporate. For the past year, I've been on the road to self development. To call it like that. I've learned a lot of things about myself, a lot of things that I want to change and work on. So it's a work in progress. But if I look at, for example, where I was at 6 to 8 months ago versus where I am now, I've come quite a long way, but there's still a long way to go, and I'm super looking forward to the future. There's a lot of things that I want to work on, that I want to discover. I'm super curious about a lot of things. So that's it might seem a bit ambiguous, but that's where I'm at right now.
And I love that. And so one big thing I want to point out to everybody before we sort of get into the nitty-gritty is Larissa has been overthinking and having a process of thought that's been going crazy since I suggested coming on the live. And that's absolutely fine. And in a sense, there's such a beauty around that, because that is exactly what I want people to understand, is when you do something new, and I'm not trying to say that getting on a Facebook Live is going to be the be all and end all of everybody's life and they're going to go ahead and that's what they want to do. However, exposing yourself to other people and exposing your ideas and your thought processes to other people is such a scary thing. You go over what is right, what is wrong, should I do this, should I do that, is the setting right, are we doing this? And that's all fine, and you should accept that that is what can and will happen. When I first did my live, I was sat there for the first 3 minutes, thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, like trying to talk myself into it, being like, what am I going to talk about, blah, 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 and going and doing this insane thought process. And then after I'd finished the live, there's this moment of peace and quiet where I just sat back and I was like, yeah, do you know what I mean? It was good and it felt good, and the comments that people gave were nice. And this is the thing, that when people stop themselves from getting past that little bit, that little voice that tells you this, you stop yourself from feeling euphoria on the other side. Now, Larissa mentioned about her self-development journey, and she said that it's a work in progress. And of course, I'm going to support that as well and say that we're all a work in progress. Like whatever we're doing in life, we're always trying to better ourselves, learn. And anybody who says there isn't, in my opinion, if you're doing that, then you're at a level of ceasing to exist, because it means you're taking all of the beauty, the fun, and the enjoyment out of life. So Larissa, I would like to, I want you to sort of tell everybody your self-development journey, to explain to them about the lives you did in the past, why you did those, and where you're currently, at the minute in your journey.
There's a certain point in time where I realized that a lot of the decisions that I felt like technically were out of my control, that I had to take responsibility and accountability for a lot of those, and realize that I have more choices than I actually think I have, and to accept that and for that to become my mindset made a big difference, because I was able to realize that there's a lot more to come, and that there's a certain mindset that I didn't realize that that was the case, but that kind of goes along with my culture, with a lot of the cultures, was that I was brought up in a very scarce mindset, and that there's a certain way of doing things, whether it's being very careful about everything, being conservative about everything, or doing things in a certain way. So my relationship with risk and with fear, I think, was upside down. When I realized that, and it took a while to realize, um, it doesn't automatically mean that my habits are gonna from one day to another become great. I started questioning everything that I was doing before, all the decisions that I was making, but that was a part that I had to go through to realize, to get to the point where I'm at right now, and to realize that if I do think in such a very small, scarce way, I'm not going to be able to get to the objectives that I want to get to. If I don't take even the tiniest bit of risks, whatever it might be, whether it's in relationships, in work, or whatever, I'm not going to be able to get anywhere that is exceptional. So accepting that and understanding that concept and truly, genuinely internalizing that took a while to understand, to accept, and to execute. And for me, typically, to change my habits, it's being conscious that I'm taking baby steps every day towards working at, to get to where I want to get, even the tiniest steps. So so for me, breaking out of that super scarce mindset was a big thing that was massively holding me back. And I'm not saying that I'm out of it just yet, but I do know that I'm just a few steps ahead, and I realize just how much of a difference it makes already, which makes me even more excited about the things that are to come, because then you realize just how many opportunities, how many great things you could consider, you could be doing, you could be learning day in, day out. And that to me is a lot of things to look forward to, and it's super exciting.
One thing I'm interested about, you see, you say obviously that Russian culture had this level of scarcity and the way they thought with their mind process and things like that. Do you feel like some of your family and friends, sort of either family, i.e., parents, again, we haven't really discussed your background in depth and things like that, but parents, do you think that that was something that because they were indoctrinated to think that they passed that down onto you? Do you think that friends also had the same mindset, or?
100%. My parents, my grandparents, and it's not saying in a way to blame anyone, because our parents or grandparents are going to teach us whatever they were taught, whatever they think is right. So in their mind, they want your best, they're doing their best. But with the way and the reality of things right now, there are a lot more opportunities than there was 20, 30 years ago. So they might not realize it, but sometimes some things that they teach us, even if it might be subconscious, might not be the best habits for us to have, to be careful about everything. We're super conservative about everything. So even right now, and I'm that's not to say that I'm not close with my family. I talk to my family every day. I see them weekly. I'm very close, but I have to be very, very aware and conscious about the impact that it has on me and my mindset, and hence my actions. So I love them very dearly, but right now I'm much more self-aware in terms of the impact that it had on me, and it still has, while I was growing up, what was taught to me, and how it transferred the relationships that I have, um, the way, what kind of job I picked, so on and so forth.
See, what's interesting about that, I would say that even though you say it's Russian culture, I think that that spreads across all cultures around all societies, or most of them. I'm not going to say all of them. Some may be different. See, in England, I'll speak for a whole, because most of the people I associate with, my family from England, my parents excluding in this, a lot of people have that same mindset of being careful, getting a job, having a plan B, having all these things in place, and giving 50-50 to something instead of 100%. One area where I was very grateful, very, what's the word I'm looking for, fortunate to be in, is that when my parents allowed me to do what I saw fit, allowed me to make the choices and decisions that I had to make going through my life. And no doubt that's had a contribution to the man I have become today. And I think that there is a level of people being afraid of approaching their parents. Like you say, I mean, I hope you don't mind me saying, but just then it feels like you justify it when you say, I do love them very dearly. So it's like a justification of saying it, but really and truly acknowledging that sometimes the perhaps thought processes or methods of people bringing you up were wrong. And there's nothing bad about saying that. You know, there are certain things that some parents do that they're trying to protect their children, but in some cases it can do the opposite. So I 100% agree with you, and I think that it can definitely replicate through a lot of different cultures and things like that. Now, you have told me about the affiliate marketing, and I know that it's entirely up to you if you want to talk about it. One thing I want to ask you is, what is it in life, and this is such an enormous question, and I always ask people this, and it always stumbles them. In life, what is it that you are most passionate about? What is it that gives you a feeling that nothing else in this world can give you?
It might be pretty specific. I love helping people, but it's typically I'm able to help after learning something or with the knowledge that I have specific to a certain topic. So let's say, for example, I'm really passionate about fitness and nutrition, but I've learned on my own how to use nutrition as not only a competitive advantage, a competitive tool, but also how to fix a lot of like illness, whether it's mental or physical. And I've learned a lot of stuff, and I was able to help myself. And that's one way. Typically, when I speak to people, these are the kind of topics that I get to see how I can help them, because the knowledge is there, and sometimes people are not really aware that there's something out there, either natural or super simple, aside from medication, that can help them. So that's typically how I help people. Um, Fitness wise, also I got into that, to help people who don't know, who won't necessarily invest the time or don't necessarily have the interest digging through loads of information or content like I do. So all the stuff that I learned, if I could simplify something for someone and that could change their life, um, that's what I love. That's what I love doing. And alongside with affiliate marketing, the reason why I got interested is because it took a while to realize that that's a possibility, that it's real, that there's people out there who do that, is because, first of all, it kind of helps you break out of that scarce mindset for you to have more abundant thoughts and to realize that it is an option. I can do it if I put in the time, and if I'm curious enough, and if I learn consistently and execute. So for me, that was really, really interesting. If again, if this is something that I'm able to figure out for myself and help my family, then I can help countless moms and families to so they can spend more time with their children, because I know that one big issue that people have is that they end up feeling stuck in a job that they feel like that they don't like, they're not passionate about, they don't want to do it, but they're there because it's comfortable. They feel that they have that security, and some people, on top of everything, they have children, they have a whole family to take care of. So the risk of leaving or taking, any to deviate from that secure job might seem more overwhelming. So I think that if I can put in, invest the time and even the funds to figure it out for myself and my family, I can then help so many with this one probably big issue that a lot of people have. So that's why I'm really passionate about affiliate marketing.
Good. I'll just thank you, Joe, for the comment. Appreciate that, my friend. And now the reason why I wanted you to talk about the affiliate marketing is because a lot of people have a mind set. They have an opinion on affiliate marketing where it's, some people look at it in a certain light. They think to themselves, oh, it's another affiliate marketer. And I've been around people who do that. And one thing that always strikes me is that there are going to be people who support and people who frown upon everything that we do in life. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it is absolutely inescapable. And the reason being is because humans as a whole have so many different chemical emotions towards so many different things, is that it's absolutely impossible for you not to have somebody that either hates you, that loves you, that finds you interesting, that finds you boring as hell. There's always going to be a situation where that's the case. So for people that are worried of, again, and it comes back to this idea of the opinions of people, for people that are worried about the opinions that people give you on what it is you want to do, mm-hmm. my advice is to not care about it, is to not worry about it, and to not let any of your thoughts dwell on this idea of somebody not enjoying what you do. There will have been a time when somebody went onto one of my lives, thought to myself, excuse the language, dickhead, and then clicked off and went to go do something else. And that's absolutely fine, because people are going to do that. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's going to be people who resonate with some things and don't resonate with other things. And that's what it is about life. So one question I also have, Larissa, is, what are some of the biggest hardships that you've ever had? And again, your answer is entirely up to you. I know we discussed this before the call, but I want you to, people to know what kind of hardships you've had and how you've been able to overcome them or are still overcoming them.
I've had some issues in relationships. This is something that I'm working on, and I've been working on to take responsibility and accountability for certain things and my decisions. But also for the past year, I've had to overcome a really, really bad eating disorder that I've had for years. And the worst part is that, and I'm sure it's not only me, I didn't even realize that I had an eating disorder, and just how much it was impacting a lot of aspects of my life, my mind, how I was thinking, my energy levels, so on and so forth. Coupled with that, to make it worse, I had some drug, not to call it a drug addiction, but it was becoming a big problem in my life. And the eating disorder and that happening alongside together. So those two together were very destructive mentally and physically, and that went along for quite a while. And sometimes when you're in a situation, when you're in the moment, you don't realize how bad it is, because it becomes just a habit, and becomes your norm almost, and you don't realize that there's something else that you could be or should be doing to get out of it. So when I realized and admitted to myself, most importantly, just how tremendously it's impacting me and the people around me, including my family, I had to make a decision slowly. Again, for me, it's typically baby steps that work. What is it that I'm gonna do today or tomorrow, so this issue or the next issue, I'm able to tackle it step by step. So for the past year and a half, I was able to not only improve those who are not an issue anymore, but it took conscious efforts every single day for me to be able to get to the point where I'm at right now. And obviously, still a ton of room for growth, a ton of room for growing, but I had to, get rid of those two, or for those two not to be my habit anymore, not to be my norm, for my mind to be functioning properly, and to gain back control, to take responsibility and accountability, and move forward from there.
And that's a fantastic point. And I think people should really either jot that down or make a note of that, is that whenever you're trying to change anything, or whenever you're trying to overcome habits, I mean, habits can be good or bad, let's just say bad habits, right? Or in the eyes of you, bad habits, it takes small steps. Nothing happens instantly, and anybody to expect anything to happen instantly doesn't understand the complexity of the universe, because there are things that happen and things that come about in life that can either keep you moving forward, set you back, whatever. There are an infinite, there is no number, there's infinite different things happening every single second as I speak right now, and things are going on all the time consistently. So one day you might be feeling good, one day you might be feeling bad, and everything, as long as you're consciously trying to move yourself forward in a right direction, in a positive direction, getting you to a position where you feel better. The important thing is to always be striving to feel better, because nobody can tell you how you feel. Only you know that. I always say this, like, only I can look through my eyes, only I can feel with my hands and breathe with my lungs. So only I can know how I feel. So therefore, we can only be in control of our own decisions and pushing ourselves to feel better. And that's a really important thing for people to understand when it comes to overcoming things.
Yeah, and an important part. Sorry to cut you off, James.
No, it's fine.
An important part is that sometimes you will feel like you're either not taking steps forward, or you might actually be a little bit regressing or taking a few steps back, and that's where self-awareness comes from. If you remind yourself, why is it that I want to move forward? What's the reason why I want to get rid of these problems or issues that I have? If you remind yourself why, and you tell yourself, I don't want to find myself in this situation again, as low as it's been, and feel like this is a good reminder why. It always gives you a good reason why to move forward and not get comfortable again in those same habits that might be hurting you and might be destructive. So I
And,
always remind myself what's the reason why I'm doing all of this.
and it's a really good point, because a lot of people want to change and almost become different people, right? So we want to. You're absolutely right, Joe. It really is. And self-awareness in all sense, like, Joe's obviously a good friend of mine. I know for a fact that he enjoys doing music and producing it. And I can say for a fact, some of the songs I've listened to that he's done have been awesome. So we're all capable of doing things that are great, that are doing things that people get enjoyment from, that are doing things that people can really get behind. And it doesn't always have to be that. It doesn't always have to be for somebody else. However, you will often find that when you start getting good at something you love doing, other people enjoy seeing you do it. They enjoy watching you be yourself. They enjoy watching you live life on your terms. They enjoy watching you, experience euphoria in your own sense. And one thing I bring up, and this is absolutely no disrespect, but people who drink alcohol and people who do drugs, and like, we've all been young, like, we've all tried and tested certain things. There are feelings you get from that still can never be replicated by doing and following a path that really makes you feel like you're just on a whole different planet. And that's why I always encourage so many people to find what it is that gives them that inner thing right here, that feeling right here that makes them feel just absolutely out of this world. So, Larissa, one final question I'll ask you is, where do you see yourself next year? What are you striving towards now? Because I know for a fact that you're somebody who's definitely on a journey to, getting to making yourself feel better every single day, making yourself feel good. So where do you want to be next year?
I've already said this before, even to myself or to my sister. I'm really looking forward to what's going to happen over the next year, because at this point I realize that I'm being consistent with taking action, as small as it is, every single day. So I'm looking forward to see where that's going to bring me, and I'm hoping to help as many people as I can, however I can. But yes, that's where I think 1 year is fairly short term, although it might seem big. But I'm hoping to get to the point where I'm able to not only put myself out there, but be able to help as many people as I can in several aspects, with whether it be with the knowledge that I have or experience from personal experience. So I'm hoping to get to that point, because, like you said, there's nothing feels more amazing than that.
Good. And that's a good thing to do. And, it's like you say, goals can have a time limit. I don't always recommend having too much of a time limit on goals. I know that will be contrary to most people's ideals. I mean, there are times when it's necessary, but I think it's difficult to understand the size of your goals at times when it comes to anything. Like, I will 100% be a millionaire, and people will see it happen, but I don't know when. You see, so there are levels of goals that need time limits and levels that don't. So for people watching, like I will just encourage you to understand there will and will not be times when certain goals need a time frame, but you should always every day be pushing and striving to get to where you want to be. So I'm going to say thank you so much for coming on today, Larissa. You did a fantastic job, and I hope that you will now understand that there was literally nothing to worry about, and that you did a great live, and everybody has really enjoyed listening to you.
Thank you so much, James. I really appreciate it as well.
No. Is there anything else you'd like to finish with?
No, that was it. Thanks.
That's fine. All right. Thank you, everyone who attended today, and everyone who is going to watch it later on. I know it's 6 o'clock here in England, so I know a few people will tune in later on. So thanks so much for joining. Again, thank you, Larissa, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.